AskReddit by Twiggy2. Which profession has the most evil people? People smugglers. Trafficking in people. Oh yeah, it's a very deep and grimy pool. Supervillains. Politicians. The major problem. One of the major problems, for there are several, one of the many major problems with governing people is that of whom you get to do it, or rather of who manages to get people to let them do it to them. To summarize, it is a well-known fact that those people who most want to rule people are, ipso facto, those least suited to do it. To summarize the summary, anyone who is capable of getting themselves made president should on no account be allowed to do the job. Douglas Adams, the restaurant at the end of the universe. Organ traffickers. What's with all the hate of lawyers and surgeons? To be a lawyer you have to be at least partly a scumbag. For most legal jobs you have to be a total scumbag. Surgeons tend to have a god complex. By percentage or pure numbers? Yup, definitely it's statisticians. People who run top-heavy school academy chains. They often earn way too much money, and their jobs are focused on numbers, rather than students, and they justify their pay by making teachers' jobs even harder for absolutely no reason. Teachers are leaving the profession in floods because of these people. Politics. Hitmen. Tough choice. Personally, I don't consider the professional ones inherently evil. For them it is a job done followed by a paycheck. Compare it to a government-sanctioned hit which might be carried out by a special ops team. They are more or less the delivery men. The person who offered the contract is a different matter though. Anything corporate, bankers and politicians. President of Russia. By ratio it's not even a contest. HR. Although not a profession, but I genuinely believe that there are no good billionaires. You can't become a billionaire if you do not have evil in your heart. Warren Buffett is considered one of the most normal billionaires. He lives in a regular house instead of a mansion. His kids attended public school, and he drives a normal car. He got a driver a few years ago since his health made it difficult for him to drive, but other than that he lives like a typical person. He also had a cameo in The Office. https://www.youtube.com/watch?_1qk100pme close bracket dart. Pimps. Concentration camp guards. Why the guards? Journalists. They will literally make you say stuff you never said just because of some agenda, doesn't matter what kind of agenda. Or, they report every word you say verbatim to make you look bad. Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated. Evangelical preacher. Hedge fund manager. Clergy. Yoga centers. C-suite executives. There are more sociopaths running around there than you can count. Lobbyists. Scum of the earth. Before I would have said lawyers, now I think DAs. Lately I've seen lots of TV reports on their deeds. Anything political. Cops. Big oil execs. Doctors, receptionists. Oddly specific. I like it. Big oil, big tobacco, big pharma, etc. and the politicians they pay for. Social media influencers. I think most of them don't even realize honestly. I was in the poorer parts of India for work experience, and some white girl comes up to a sleeping homeless man while I was walking on the street. He was sleeping, facing the other way, and this man is clearly incredibly unhealthy and on the verge of death. You could see his bones as if his skin was a tight blanket. The only way I knew he was alive was through his struggled breathing. This girl takes a photo of the man, and then, as I passed behind her, I watched her upload it to Instagram. Honestly, my young self should have helped the man somehow, but I didn't know what to do. I just kept walking, thinking about the girl and that fucking disgusting act. How are you different from her? Not trying to be rude, but both of you just ignored the man. And how do you know the girl was a social media influencer? Not saying some influencers aren't bad people. Cops. Lobbyists. Police. Over 90% are alright. Politician. I feel like some big businesses. They have some seriously fucked up powerful people in charge. Anyone who works at a hedge fund or private equity firm. The former are just gamblers, but they use money that isn't theirs and make up their own rules and financial instruments to benefit themselves. It's an opaque business. The stock market works for the rich. The latter buys companies primarily using assets from the company they are buying, rather than their own money. They also get interest deductions on the loans used to buy these companies. Then they cut costs as much as they can to show short-term profits, then sell it to the next sucker to hold the bag when the effects of all the cost cutting finally reveal themselves. They kill American companies so billionaires can become a little bit richer. Unregulated capitalism is an ugly machine. Huh. Bouncers at nightclubs and bars. I know they sometimes deal with a lot of shit from drunks, but I've encountered some who definitely had an ego trip when deciding whether to let me inside or not. Businessmen and politicians usually. Health insurance. Even debt collectors are nicer. Pediatric gender-affirming surgeons. These modern men-gills should be locked up. TikTokers. I guess any company that pollutes the ocean too. The military. Some countries more so than others. I'm sure everybody remembers what Russia's is currently doing, and of course, there's the genocide occurring in Ethiopia. The Syrian conflict is still ongoing, and I think Yemen too. Catholic priests. Lawyers. Crook people, priest, pastor, nuns, whatever. All those non-profit orgs that always ask for money. Genos. You have to be evil to stare into some of that evil. IDK, but non-English speaking patients are often neglected by medical staff in hospitals. Executor. Like, of an estate. Public administration, they never want to give you broad answers. They are annoyed by questions of any kind. They will never go out of their way to help you. They hate their job. Yes, generalization. I am aware of that. But seriously, things listed above happen so often it's sad. Doctors can be both lifesaver or professional physical abuser. Never forget, the more people get ill, the more money they make. Wow, I work in the medical field and this is far from the truth. Depends if we're talking percentages or direct and indirect actions. For example, politicians sell out people should be helping to allow another group power to hurt them. That said, see us make the decision to lobby bribe these politicians. And choose to avoid the recall, knowing paying wrongful death lawsuit will be cheaper. To cut back safety cost for workers, seeing exactly how many lives it will cost, etc. Then you have cops, which tend to gravitate some bad eggs and are protected. While straight up killing, robbing, destroying people's lives with their direct actions. Like killing them with own hands. There is worse, but are illegal professions included in this? There are people who make it a career scamming people. Luring and abducting girls and selling them. Evil genius. In the past it used to be lawyers, but now without a doubt any kind of politicians. Anything big money. No wealthy person hasn't stepped on heads to get to where they are. Hypnotists. Politics. Psychiatry. Not a profession, but a sector. Anything in tourism. People are mostly evil, with co-workers scamming tourists, and costumers is common. TBH, fuck that industry and most of those people. Ill play devil's advocate. Casino dealer. Customers are on their absolute worst behavior, especially high rollers who know how to get under your skin, knowing we're not going to boot them out due to the money they are spending. The absolute worst players are poker players. Hey, all you poker players, going to give you a little tip. The excuse, well, the other casinos don't do it that way, doesn't work ever. It's always the dealer's fault. They are all out for blood, trying to get a one-up in every way possible. They know the rules inside and out. However, they are the best tippers and is by far my favorite game to deal. You just need tough skin and not being afraid to make the correct call on the spot. No comment unless they come knocking on my door. Lol. Drill rappers. I suspect most people just find what job they are suited for. People are not born evil, and the progression to evil is not something that is planned. QA people. Leather makers. Animal killers. If I could, I'd shoot each and every one of them in the heart straight. Presidency.